Right now, you're warm without even thinking about it. Heat flows through your home at the push of a button. There's a jacket hanging by the door that you never had to hunt an animal to make. There's food in your kitchen that will still be there tomorrow, next week, maybe even next month. Now imagine losing all of that. No house, no heater, no insulated clothing, no refrigerator. Just your bare body and a winter so brutal that falling asleep in the wrong place could mean never waking up again. For hundreds of thousands of years, that wasn't a disaster scenario, it was normal life. Your ancestors lived through real ice ages, vast glaciers stretched across continents. Temperatures dropped low enough to kill an exposed human in only a few hours. Food disappeared, trees became scarce, entire landscapes turned into frozen wastelands. And somehow they survived. You're the evidence.
Every ancestor in your family line endured at least one winter long enough to pass life to the next generation, which means every one of them won a battle against the cold that they absolutely could not afford to lose. But here's the strange part. Humans were never supposed to be good at this. We evolved in warm climates. We don't have thick fur. We don't carry insulating layers of fat like seals. We can't migrate thousands of miles like reindeer. We can't hibernate like bears. Take away modern clothing and shelter, and a human being becomes frighteningly vulnerable to cold weather. Meanwhile, the animals around us were built for it. Mammoths carried dense fur and thick fat reserves. Arctic animals could withstand temperatures that would kill a person. Cave bears simply slept through the worst months.
On paper, humans should have been one of the first species to disappear when the ice advanced. Wrong body, wrong environment, wrong time. Yet we survived anyway. Because while our bodies weren't designed for ice ages, our minds were capable of solving problems no other animal could, and that made all the difference. The foundation of everything was fire. Without fire, none of the other solutions matter. Humans had already been using controlled fire for hundreds of thousands of years before the last ice age reached its peak. By then, fire wasn't a luxury. It was the center of survival itself. Archaeologists studying ice age camps in Eastern Europe expected to find simple campfires. Instead, they found carefully constructed hearths capable of reaching temperatures above 600 degrees Celsius. These weren't random fires, they were engineered.
When wood became scarce across frozen grasslands, people adapted. They burned animal fat, they burned bones. They used every available source of fuel to keep heat alive. Fire provided warmth. It cooked food. It hardened tools. It gave light during long winter nights. Most importantly, it kept death at a distance. But fire had one major problem. You couldn't carry it everywhere. The moment you stepped away from the flames, winter was waiting. So humans found another solution. They wore warmth.
At first, that meant wrapping themselves in animal hides. Simple, effective, but not perfect. Loose skins allowed heat to escape through gaps. Wind slipped inside. Moisture became a problem. Then came one of the most important inventions in human history, the sewing needle. Around 30,000 years ago, people began crafting tiny needles from bone and ivory, complete with drilled eyes for thread. The invention seemed small. It wasn't. For the first time, humans could create fitted clothing. Sleeves, layered garters, sealed seams, gloves, boots.
Clothing that trapped heat instead of merely covering skin. The difference between draping a hide over your shoulders and wearing a tailored winter outfit is enormous. Some researchers believe improved clothing helped modern humans expand into colder regions more successfully than other human species. And evidence suggests humans had been using animal skins for protection far earlier. In northern Europe, archaeologists discovered bear bones dating back roughly 300,000 years, with cut marks precisely where hunters would remove the hide. Those marks tell a story. People weren't just hunting bears for meat, they wanted the fur. A bear hide made an exceptional winter cloak long before anyone understood insulation scientifically. Humans also found clever ways to protect exposed skin. Hunters coated the faces with animal fat to reduce heat loss and shield themselves from icy winds. It wasn't glamorous.
But it worked. The frozen landscape created another danger many people never consider: snow blindness. Sunlight reflecting from endless snow can damage eyesight and leave hunters effectively blind. To solve this, northern peoples carved narrow slits into pieces of bone or wood and wore them over their eyes. The earliest sunglasses weren't glass, they were carved from animal remains. Then there were the homes. Popular culture loves the image of primitive humans hiding in caves. Reality was often much more impressive. In regions where caves and timber were scarce, people built shelters from the resources available around them. Sometimes that meant mammoth bones. At sites in modern-day Ukraine, archaeologists discovered circular structures built from hundreds of mammoth bones and tusks. Massive skulls formed foundations. Tusks curved upward to create frameworks. Animal hides covered the exterior. Earth and vegetation added insulation.
Some of these structures date to the coldest stages of the last ice age. People literally built homes from giants, and the designs were surprisingly intelligent. Many shelters featured lowered entrances that acted as cold traps. Because cold air sinks, freezing air settled near the doorway, while warmer air remained in sleeping areas. Thousands of years before formal physics existed, humans were already exploiting its principles. Snow itself became another tool. Although it feels cold, packed snow is an excellent insulator. By tiling snow against shelter walls, people trapped heat inside and blocked icy winds outside. Even when temperatures plunged far below freezing, insulated shelters could remain dramatically warmer than the open landscape. Location mattered too.
A camp hidden among trees experienced far less wind exposure than one built on open ground. Small details determined survival. Cracks were sealed with moss, mud, and sticky pine resin. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was ignored. Staying warm solved one problem. Winter hunger created another. Cold kills quickly. Starvation kills slowly. During harsh winters, edible plants vanished. Game animals became harder to find. The solution was preparation. Whenever hunters made a large kill, they fought beyond the present moment. Meat was dried, smoked, frozen, stored underground.
Some evidence even suggests people used cold water and naturally chilled environments to preserve food for extended periods. Every calorie mattered. Every piece of an animal had value. Nothing was thrown away. Archaeological sites show repeated large-scale hunting efforts where groups worked together to trap herds of horses and reindeer. The strategy wasn't just about eating today, it was about surviving months from now. Winter preparation wasn't seasonal, it was a year-round mindset. And perhaps the most important survival tool wasn't fire, clothing, or shelter. It was other people. Humans survived because they lived together. Shared heat matters.
A crowded shelter is warmer than an empty one. Families slept close together because body heat was a resource. Isolation was dangerous. Community increased survival odds. In many cases, the people most vulnerable during severe winters were those without strong social support. But there's one final idea that sounds almost unbelievable. Some researchers have proposed that certain ancient human populations may have survived extreme winters through a form of hibernation-like behavior. At a site in Spain known as Cima de los Huesos, scientists identified unusual patterns in ancient bones dating back hundreds of thousands of years. The evidence remains controversial. Many researchers disagree with the interpretation.
But some suggest these patterns resemble biological stress cycles seen in hibernating animals. No one knows for certain, yet the possibility remains fascinating. Imagine surviving winter not by fighting it, but by sleeping through part of it. Whether that theory proves true or not, one fact is undeniable. For hundreds of thousands of years, every winter was a challenge with life or death consequences. There were no guarantees, no emergency services, no backup plans, just ingenuity, preparation, cooperation, and determination. And somehow, generation after generation, humans endured.
Today, winter is usually an inconvenience, a cold walk to the car, a weather forecast, a complaint about snow. For your ancestors, it was a war against cold, hunger, darkness, and time itself, and they won it so completely that most of us have forgotten it was ever being fought. If you enjoyed this video about how ancient humans survived deadly winters, subscribe for more fascinating videos exploring the most interesting topics.